There are several additional key characteristics of championship teams focused on relationship building. The first, communication. The best teams learn the value of communication, both verbal and nonverbal, on and off the playing field. This can also include gender differences, as women tend to value how it is said rather than what is said, meaning if the tone is loud or angry, they may tune out what you're actually trying to get across. Number 2, resolving conflict. Handling conflict is a top barrier to maxing out a team's performance. If the team doesn't do well, talking behind each other's back is often what causes the conflict to escalate. When it comes to resolving conflict, face-to-face with the person involved is always best. Do not go to other members of the team to tell your version of the dispute. This leads to gossip and the worsening of the conflict. Additionally, there may need to be a cooling off period and time to think about how one wants to respond to a conflict, especially if someone has done something particularly hurtful. Number 3, sharing common goals. Goal setting for a team can take on a number of forms, anywhere from setting the big outcome goals to the goals that focus on the many aspects of being a student athlete, including team GPA or life skills participation activities. One of the advantages teams have when they share common goals is that they can handle conflict better by taking it back to the agreed upon team goals. For example, if the team commits to getting 8 hours of sleep per night during the season, and a team member identifies that someone is on social media at 2 in the morning and has an 8 a.m. practice, it is much easier to communicate with that person with a reminder of what the team agreed upon regarding sleep. When the team has a focused mission, the motivation to train hard in the off-season and fight through any adversity can be stronger than in other years. Creating team values, or what the team wants to be known for, can be an excellent team exercise, which you all identify the possible team values and then narrow it down to the top 4. For Creighton Volleyball in 2019, this can look like 1, being a great practice team, 2, no comparisons to past teams, 3, feeling equality among all teammates, and 4, a culture of team helpfulness. The Golden State Warriors have defined their team values as joy, compassion, competition, and mindfulness. As a coach, you have to ask yourself, what will it look like to me as an observer if I'm a newcomer in your gym or watching you play? How will I know you're living your values? This can also be done for individual athletes to come up with their own values. Commitment is also an ingredient of an individual's elite mindset. First, one has to be competent and then committed as an individual before the team has to collectively decide to commit as well. Willie Mays, a former Major League Baseball player, once said it as, "It isn't hard to be good in sports. What is tough is being good every day." Can you be good every day when circumstances aren't going the team's way? Can you be good every day when a few members of the team didn't earn the role they wanted, which happens on virtually every team? Can the collective team continue working on getting better every practice, doing the right things on and off the ice? Number 5, embracing your role. One of the most successful college football coaches in history, Nick Saban, said in regards to his success, everyone has a defined role and expectation, and you're held accountable to that. Bill Belichick, the most successful coach in the NFL, says it even more efficiently: do your job. Number 6, team bonding. Teams that put themselves in a position to max out in business or sport have to learn to respect each other and learn to care for each other. This doesn't mean you have to be friends with everyone on the team, but you have to commit to getting to know your teammates at a deeper level. One of the mental skills that isn't talked about as frequently is having fun. This is something we ask every team to commit to working on, since having fun is a choice and does not come naturally for every team. Orchestrated fun is particularly important for teams that are hardwired to focus and take things more seriously. And finally, confidence in leadership. Confidence in leadership includes coaches and team leaders. there are several key takeaways we've identified and observed working with elite leaders. Having the self-awareness to answer the question, what is my contribution to the problem? If the team is struggling with communication, the leader must ask, what is my role in this? Many leaders are quick to blame any issue on everyone below them without looking in the mirror first. Leaders also model the behaviors that they want from those they lead. Consistency. One of the biggest ways to break trust or prevent trust from being built is for those you lead not to know what to expect from you on any given day. This can include having consistency across rules, practices, and game day. Human beings crave structure and like to know what to expect physically, mentally, and emotionally from their leaders. Alignment of time and effort to what you value. There are many leaders who preach what they believe to be important, but then don't put any effort into showing that on a daily basis. Having an open door policy. The best leaders not only have this policy, but people actually utilize it as they know it is a psychologically safe environment. The best leaders find a healthy balance between love and accountability. A willingness and ability to evolve and adapt. This can include learning to relate to younger individuals or exhibiting a willingness to learn new technical and tactical skills in the ever-changing world of sport. Building trust. The best leaders find a way to do this better than others, consistently and across time and versions of their team. Excel itself has identified 3 ingredients that are critical to team performance. Each of these are the responsibility of the manager or coach to implement. Order. Creating processes, tools, and systems that enable people to operate effectively and drive consistent outputs. Number 2, complexity. Creating or embracing an environment that promotes discomfort. It is a job of leaders within their structure to create a deliberate practice structure to allow those they lead to identify and have stretch goals and to fail on occasion. This degree of complexity also requires a feeling of psychological safety. And number 3, relationships, including establishing trust with those on your team. The best leaders and coaches spend a lot of time building relationships, which leads to connection, which leads to trust, which leads to vulnerability, which leads to psychological safety. Okay, we covered a lot of information in this lesson. Let's break it down and review before we get into learning applications. MIT supports 3 ingredients for high-performance teams. Dr. Larry Woodman studies 7, and Excel Institute has crafted 3 from our own research. All of these are based on the presumed assumption of psychological safety. If you tried to tackle all 13 strategies at once, your team would become massively overwhelmed and performance would not improve. Instead, choose maybe 2 to 3 at a time to focus on. In this month or season, you could expand your support staff to promote gender equity and host a team retreat to clarify and confirm team goals. This can include outcome goals, process goals, and team values as discussed. After spring break, you may seek to create intentional time for team bonding and having fun, while holding space for discomfort and increasing the complexity your team faces.